Government signed 2 contracts for the funding, training, and implementation of an autism program in the BVI. The contracts were signed with Barbadian charity and funding partner, the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, for the establishment of the program, and with Kingwood Trust, a specialist support provider in the United Kingdom that works with children and adults with autism.
Autism is a disorder that does not discriminate. It affects children of all races and classes, showing a variety of symptoms such as speech and auditory impediments, repetitive behavior, and various social challenges that make it difficult to integrate into everyday life. With the launch of this autism program, as a community, it will help all of us begin the process of early diagnosis to allow us to identify the level of the disorder in our children and educate parents and teachers on the ways to best manage the health and schooling needs of autistic children.
Kingwood Trust will establish a pilot program for a period of 18 to 24 months and operate initially out of the Rainbow Children's Home, which will be renovated to accommodate the new services. According to Dr. Sally Prowess of Kingwood Trust, autism does not go away with treatment and occurs in the brain during early childhood development.
Essentially, it's a developmental disorder. So it's not an illness that goes away with treatment. It's not a mental health condition that can get worse at times, get better at times. It's what the current thinking is, it's something that happens quite early on in the brains of children. It's a neurological problem, and development goes on a different course, just a slightly different course than it might for a kind of normally developing child, and that can have a lot of consequences to a lot of changes in behaviour.
Is it genetic?
The thinking is at the moment that there's a lot of research going on into the causes and what the reasons behind it might be. So the current thinking is that there's a genetic predisposition within the family. So within the family, there's about 100 or so genes that interact, not one single one that they can isolate. And so you have to have that likelihood there in the wider family. Then on top of that doesn't necessarily mean that you will go on to develop autism. There then needs to be some kind of trigger, some kind of environmental trigger that sets it off.
The autism program will assess and identify problems as well as train local staff to manage the program, which is expected to begin in September.
We're hoping to have a broad program that goes from very young right through to the end of life. I think that's very important. In many parts of the world, people have just concentrated on children or adults. Actually, this program is about trying to assess a child from the beginning, trying to pick up when they have autism, and then provide programs for them, particularly in schools, but also with the families, to then go on into adulthood. The staff have to be very skilled. They have to have a basic understanding of autism. They obviously have to understand the kind of triggers for some challenging behaviours. They have to understand how to relate, how to help people to communicate with the world, how to interact with the world when actually they find that very difficult. They actually act as trainers for those individuals as well, trying to help them develop their life skills, personal skills, how to go out in the community. I've got staff here to try and help with training and establish the service, but it's really about building the capacity within the BVI to carry on with the programme.
According to the Deputy Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Social Development, Carolyn Stout-Igwe, there are 33 known cases of autism in the BVI, 8 of which are adults. The Maria Holder Memorial Trust has pledged $381,000 for the establishment of the program, and the Minister for Health and Social Development, Ronnie Skelton, assured the government's commitment to the program. He said the autism program will be free for persons who access the service.